welcome to this week's Unikernel application spotlight. This week we're looking at POGOCACHE. I assume that's how you pronounce it. Right off the bat, the the aesthetics on this website got me, and obviously anybody that talks about how fast they are and tries to back it up with some benchmarks is definitely gonna get a look at. Anyways, they compare themselves to like Redis, Valky, Dragonfly, Memcache. We actually have unikernels for all of these except Garnet. I've never even heard of Garnet before, so maybe we'll have to do a video of that in the future. But the rest of these you can actually run as unikernels today. So yeah, I mean it's basically the same sort of key value store, um, but it does have an emphasis on speed. And I'll show you some cool stuff that this guy did as well. The other thing is it's embeddable, so we're gonna run it as a server, and that's probably gonna be the common option. But you can totally embed it, and then you basically have a nice little system there, and obviously that goes through the roof scaling wise. But he had a lot of docs on what exactly he was doing to speed this up. I don't see them right off the bat, but anyways, let's go ahead and check it out. So we'll go ahead and just pop into our shell here. Let's tack on. A lot of these videos, I'm either I'm either on Linux, and so I don't have to add that arch, or I'm on a Mac, and so I do. And I make most of these packages as demos, and then if people want to take them to prod or whatever, and they need extra tweaking, then we look at doing that. But for these demos, I don't traditionally make an x86 and a fucking ARM. But again, you can do whatever. So we're gonna pop it up on port 9401. And so actually, in this banner, it does detail a little bit about how it's seeing the system, from sockets to threads to all the sharding, all that good stuff. So it's open. So obviously this can use the Redis CLI. This could use Telnet. When Salvatore released Redis back in 2007, 2008, I was just using Telnet, and then that worked pretty well up until a certain point. But yeah, you can still do sets and gets and all that sort of stuff. But as you can see here, we can actually use curl, which is a nice little interface. Right, so we're going to do my value at my key. Let's just make sure that our IP address is what we want, 68.120. Bada bing, bada boom. All right, so now we can get the key, and we would want to get what we want, right? Which is exactly what we want. Now this is where it gets kind of interesting. POGOCACHE, that's not the only protocol wire that it works on. It also does like Postgres. So that's kind of cool, when you think about it, because then you can like reuse all these different libraries. But just to kind of show, locally how this might work, 168.120. So now you can do stuff like set first tom, and you could do the age, and you can do last, and now you can get last. I mean, this is kind of cool, right? So I like this notion, and we've been seeing it pop up in lots of different applications in our Unikernel application spotlight series. So yeah, I kind of like this idea of having multiple types of listeners that you can listen in on. It just makes it way more extensible and easier to access. I'm not going to go through all the benchmarks, but I will point you at them. There's a cache-benchmarks repo, yeah, I mean he goes through all of them and does a nice little set of tests through them, and so you can kind of clone this repo and then reproduce what they came up with. Looks like they're even gonna have a hosted version here soon. But yeah, this was this week's Unikernel application spotlight running POGOCACHE. Till next week.